Two-time.
Boys about to go down on me. You boys ready to get fucked again?
You're looking at the 2025 champ.
Let's not lose. Boys about to be more exposed than Andrew's scrotum.
Just hoping to do good enough to not be last. Let's go.
I'm ready to get hurt again.
Hopefully it's only up from here.
Here we go again.
Good morning, Best Night Ever Football League. This is your Week 9 recap, and let's just hop right into the last week's matchups. I played Andrew, and Andrew had a great week, scoring 149. Overall, his team performed really well. CMC with 34 points, and then Genty with 17 points, Devontae Adams with 20, and then Jared Goff having a good week. That's a good recipe to put up some good points. So I think if you're scoring more than 130 points, I would deem that's a really solid week for your team. Overall, my quarterbacks did really well. I really enjoyed having Brissett play over Kyler. The last 3 weeks, he's done really well. Joe Flacco's been phenomenal also the last 3 weeks. Jonathan Taylor had a mediocre performance. Chuba is now unstartable, basically, with Rico just being so good. And then CD had a pretty mediocre game. And the rest of my team just really didn't do too much. Tucker Kraft going down was a huge bummer. He was, I think, going into week 9 was tight end number 1. So I have to find someone on the waivers to replace him. But and then overall, my bench did nothing just because of bye weeks. But having Trevor Lawrence scoring 20 points, that's also. Andrew's in a really good quarterback position. He has 4 pretty good quarterbacks, and I have just been struggling with injuries. Kyler and Joe Burrow are, out for basically the rest of the season. I think Kyler, he probably won't start, honestly, once he is healthy. We'll just see. But so I'm debating on dropping Kyler, which is really hard pill to swallow, dropping one of your keepers on a decent contract, but he just seems unplayable at this point. Let's go to Michael and Thomas. This was a super close game within a point, which is just nuts. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how important this game is at the end of the season when it comes to playoff picture. Because it would be crazy if, because of this game, Thomas gets in and Michael doesn't. So we'll just see. Overall, Michael's team played pretty good. Overall, everyone played actually really well. Having Rome having no receptions, that really hurts. And that's honestly the difference maker. I think just looking overall at Thomas's team, his quarterbacks played really well this week. Sam Darnold's been phenomenal. That was an amazing draft pick on Thomas's end. And then Gibbs had a really down week. But overall, they both had great weeks, scoring 130 points. That is typically what it takes to get a win. So that's too bad for Michael. Bobby had a killer week this week. Scoring 153 points. It's awesome. Overall, the Cowboys didn't do overall that well against Arizona. Dak and Javante didn't score as much, but Josh Allen scoring almost 30 points is always helpful. Drake London having his best game of the year, scoring almost 40 points is just nuts. And then Rico is just nuts. That was a really good handcuff on Bobby's end. And Rico has just been phenomenal in Carolina. And then let's look at Cam's team actually played pretty well. Jane Daniels, they kind of got clapped by the Seahawks, but overall scoring 14 points isn't horrible. Kemba's been really regressed this year. This was a really good waiver ad with DeAndre Swift being out. And then Jamar Chase is still consistently putting up decent amount of points even without Joe Burrow. So Joe Flacco's kind of saved him this year. Um, but overall, congrats to Bobby with another win. I think this was a huge win. Um, and I think Bobby might start getting a hot hand and winning a couple games. Let's go into Connor and Oscar's matchup. This was a huge win for Oscar, being 2-5, getting a win right now. At least helps give him a shot at maybe being in that fifth or sixth seed. But overall, Caleb Williams had a phenomenal game, which is surprising that it didn't translate over to Rome. Him having 280 yards and then Rome doesn't even have a reception. It's kind of nuts. Gino had a great game. And JSN has just been phenomenal this year. It's been really fun to watch. I think JSN and Puka are like the two best wide receivers this year, and Oscar has both of them. So that really helps. Yeah. And then Bryce Young stinks. I had Bryce Young on my team for all year. Lamar being back was amazing. 4 TDs. He didn't share it all. Let's see who else. Yeah, Chase Brown, Javonte Williams, Quentin Johnson, they all had decent games, but still 140 points is a lot of times hard to beat. So kudos to Oscar, and Connor still had a decent performance this week. Gregor had also just a killer week, scoring almost 160 points. I think everyone on Gregor's team basically did pretty well overall. I think the real outlier is Brock Bowers scoring 40 points. It's absolute nuts. Yeah, 3 TDs for a tight end. That's just insane. And then for Jacob, Patrick Mahomes, I think had his first like not so good game. Patrick Mahomes has been phenomenal this year. Bo Nix is starting to heat up, it looks like. He's been really good. Jim Warren still doing really well. Overall, Justin Jefferson having JJ back, that's probably good for him. Amon-Ra St. Brown, decent game. Yeah. How many did JJ start? See, JJ is now playing, so 18 points, that's awesome. So Jacob also has a really good quarterback situation. And I think that's something I'm learning quickly is you need solid quarterbacks on good contracts. So if we hop into this week's matchups really quickly, I am in a predicament. I don't know what I should do about my quarterback situation. Brissett and Joe Flacco have been honestly pretty phenomenal the last 3 weeks. And I really don't want to let either of them go. So I'm contemplating doing something with Kyler at this point. But also, there's not even available quarterback starting this week off waivers, so I'd have to trade. But it looks like Gregor's going to end up having the edge if I don't figure out my quarterback situation. Yeah, but let's go to the rest of the matchups. See, and this is another huge week for Cam and Connor, them both being 3-2 win teams. And this is going to dictate a lot on who's the fifth and sixth seed. If someone can get hot, if Michael can win this week, that'd really establish him probably making it to the playoffs. Andrew's already pretty much clinched a playoff spot. It seems like he's been consistently putting up 130 plus points every week, and I think he's got a really good shot at the end of the year at winning it all with his depth and quarterbacks and just overall bench depth. And if CMC is healthy, I think he's looking really good. And then Thomas is also looking really good with all of his quarterbacks and just overall roster. He drafted pretty well. And then I think Jacob has a really good team also. Being 4-5, I don't think reflects Jacob's teams that well. Same with Bobby. I think everyone has honestly a really good team. I think it's really could the last couple weeks could really go anyone's way. People can get hot. I think Michael went on a super hot streak, winning 5 games. I could easily see Jacob or Bobby going on a 5-game winning streak to end the season. Same with Oscar. Oscar is the two best wide receivers, and they can easily put up 30 points each week. So we'll just see how the season ends up, and I'm excited to see who makes it in the playoff bracket and then who's in the Shard Bowl. So hopefully this year is not a repeat of last year for me. I think my only hope is JT scoring 30 plus points every week the rest of the year, and giving me that slight edge. So I think that wraps up our recap, and thank you guys for watching.